And so I just want to wrap up with Luz, Dame Luz. So in our Dame Luz section, you give me and Juan a little bit of light on a certain topic. So I wanted to hear about your dad jitters, really. And you talked a little bit about it in the beginning in terms of like raising your child in general. But like, what about the whole going through pregnancy? Like, is Jill freaking out on you? Are we in cravings mode yet? Like, where are you? How are you feeling?
Okay, so she right now is she's in her second trimester, and she is 15 weeks or almost 15 weeks. So not quite whatever the next month is. She's between months. So yeah, she's not quite 4 months, but she's one of those weeks. Anyway, so the first
clearly this is daddy talking,
and we're like no help. We're like, because I'm trying to think to myself, how many weeks is in a month?
I know.
I'm sitting here like, damn, I have no idea what the pregnancy process is really like.
So one of the things they do in the pregnancy process is they always equate the size of your child to a fruit. So like it starts off small. There was a time where we had a little raspberry, and then a lemon and a lime, and right now it's a navel orange, and then we'll move on to I think an avocado is on the horizon.
Do we ever get a melon?
I think we do. We're not there. So we have this little chalkboard in our kitchen, and so Jill has drawn. She can fit 4 fruits at a time. So it's like this week this fruit, this week this fruit. So there's not a melon on there yet, but we'll get there.
Okay.
Nice.
And so the first trimester traditionally is where all the nausea comes in, morning sickness. Although they say morning sickness, but it happens pretty much throughout the day. And for Jill, it happened basically around meal times throughout the day. And we were on vacation in New Orleans, and we were visiting.
Oh, that sucks.
Food is so good. In
Yeah. We set up this vacation because the black side of my family, on my mom's side, both her dad and mother are from Louisiana, and so we have this family farm there that's on my maternal grandmother's family, which actually their last name is Haynes, just like mine from the white side. So we all my mom would always joke that my dad was her cousin.
Yeah.
Because they owned us way back in the day.
I was literally I didn't want to make the joke, but I was like, somebody owns somebody.
Yeah. And so we were like, we've never been to New Orleans. Let's go to New Orleans. It was our 6th anniversary trip. We'll go to New Orleans, and then we can also take this 2.5-hour drive and go see my family property that I'd never seen. And I learned so much about it that my mom and her siblings, they would go there every summer until they were 18. And my grandmother was the oldest of 12. So it was like everybody would come back in the summer, and they were in Louisiana. And it was like, I also learned that if you've seen the movie Mudbound on Netflix, so the woman who wrote that, her grandmother, who she based the story off of, is my grandfather's cousin. So so Dearies, if you're listening, if she's listening, if we can connect us, because she wrote that screenplay based off of her grandmother's diaries and all this information she has that connect back to her relatives that were slaves, who obviously through some are some 4th or 5th cousin of mine that were slaves. And so to have that information would be great, not just not even from a like professional actor standpoint, but just from like, this person is like my family and has info. But so the crux of that story is that you have a black man from World War II and a white man from World War II, but they come back, and then something happens, and like the KKK wants to mess with them, and so he's got to get out of town. And essentially my grandfather and my quote unquote Uncle John Jay, who I think was like a cousin or whatever, they were in town. They'd just come back from World War II. My grandfather drove trucks for General Patton to deliver supplies for D-Day. They were the red rollers or the red something. You can look it up. And John Jay whistled at a white woman, and so and she told on him, and the white folks were like, "You guys we're coming for you." And so my grandfather left Louisiana and went up to Kansas where his brother was, and then 2 years later had to come back for my grandmother, who he had met in high school. And so that, which is very similar to the story of Mudbound, But anyway, so we were, so we were there. Sorry for that.
No,
segue.
that's history. I'm here like, damn, I want to see that shit.
Yeah,
like,
it was crazy to learn, and it's crazy. I've learned so many things about that family since my mother has passed, because of course you lose a family member, especially a mom, and you're like, oh shit, I have all these questions I need to ask.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so we were like, we got to go on this trip, and then we found out we were pregnant like 2 weeks before that. And so like, okay, so we're going to New Orleans, where you want to eat and you want to drink, and that's about all you want to do. And you not only can't you do either, because she not only is she a vegetarian, but then she's got all these things that she can't eat. Like you can't eat no goat cheese, like no unpasteurized cheese, no raw eggs. So no even like, you know, runny yolks, no only 1 cup of coffee, all these limitations, no oysters. Yeah, exactly, right.
Orleans are amazing.
None of that stuff. And then on top of that she was at the height of her nausea and fatigue and everything. So just now, in this point, week, 15 roughly, she's coming out of that, and she's like, oh, I'm ready to make food again, and I'm excited to eat again. So that's what's happening right now.
Oh, thank God.
Which is great. And I was saying this to Jaleesa earlier, but I feel so much as the man, like, what good are men? Like, I help create
you just chilling.
Like her body is doing all this. She's creating our child. It's gonna come out, and that's gonna be our baby and our kid and our family, and she's the one making it. And all I can do is be there to support and take out the trash a little bit more, because it makes her nauseous to take it out. And it just sort of feels like, wow, I want to contribute and I want to help in this moment in time, but all I can really do is just be there and support, because I don't have a uterus and I can't grow this baby, and it's her who has to go through all this and be reminded every day, and you have to make sure to sleep on her side and not on her back, because they could both die instantly if she's there's this weird thing where when you're pregnant, after a certain week, not at the beginning, so like if you're worried you might be pregnant, and then and you sleep on your back, don't worry, you're not gonna, you know what I mean, and you don't know yet, you're okay. But after a certain point in your first trimester, you can't sleep on your back, because it's like there's this freak thing that happens every so often, like 1 in 1,000 cases, where it's like either a blood vessel or a nerve, something is pressed, and it's like your heart stops and the baby's heart stops, or something along those lines, where it's like instant death. So you have to sleep on your side.
The fuck?
Yeah, it's like this, because like the baby is pressing on your spine in a weird way, or one of your major blood vessels. So yeah, I'm just here doing whatever, but also knowing that our lives are going to change. And I'm sitting here like, what can I do? I'd love to, I bought a lottery ticket. Maybe we'll become billionaires tonight. But
$5 if y'all win.
Yeah, it's just like. I feel so. I feel like I'm just in awe of her, and feeling like I want to make sure I'm giving her due and space, and respecting what she's going through, while also figuring out ways to pull my fucking weight and be ready as we can be, knowing that we'll never be ready, and that we're gonna learn as we go.
What are you most excited about for when the baby comes?
Oh man, I'm excited to teach my child things, and to show them the world. Because of Puffs, I was able to quit my long-time job for 8.5 years or more of teaching soccer to little kids, and so I worked with predominantly 2 to 5 year olds, but some slightly younger and some older, and I do a couple of side gigs with teenagers and stuff. But I have a lot of experience with kids who are 2 to 5, and having them ask me questions and being able to be like, oh, I taught them that. And I taught them how to do a pullback on a soccer ball. And when I taught them, I remember when I first started, I used to have stud earrings. I have 2 piercings on both lobes. And they were like, only girls can have earrings. And I was like, no, actually boys can have earrings too. And then I was told to take them out, because that child went home and told their parents that Coach Alex said boys can have earrings, and their parent didn't like it.
Way.
Yes way. And so they're like, Alex, yeah, you should take your earrings out. And that's when I kind of stopped wearing them, because I was like, oh, I don't want to forget these at work, because you know how it is. You wear studs, you just leave them in all the time. And so there's an example of the Midwest being conservative, conservative in a surprising way for you. But getting to teach my child and say, you know, this is our family and this is what we do, and having family traditions and things that will stick in my child's memory, so that when they're doing a podcast years down the line, can be like, oh yeah, well, when my mom and dad had me, they were living on Amsterdam Avenue, and my dad would get his haircut at the Puerto Rican barbershop right downstairs, and he would let me sit in his lap and this and that, and we were friends with all the neighbors and stuff. And I'm very cognizant of the fact that Jill and I, we're sort of walking in the footsteps of my parents, and I'm going to be almost a year older than my dad was when they had me.
Wow.
Which feels very strange to be like, oh wow, like that's how young you were. Like,
yeah,
you know, because you look up to your parents, they're like, and for a certain amount of time, you're like, parents, they know everything. And then you get to the age that your parents were when they had you, and you're like, oh shit, y'all didn't know shit. So I'm just excited. I'm excited for that, to create those memories and to have our family grow, because we already are a family. But to like teach part of the new generation and have this new exciting thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I can't wait until the baby comes and see all the pictures and all that stuff. Love baby pictures, so definitely post all the baby. Me and Skittles, like all the baby pictures.
I love baby pictures.
Love it so much. Alex, where can we find you?
You can find me at uptown_Haynes, Haynes, on Instagram and on Twitter. alex-haynes.com, and you can find me at New World Stages 8 shows a week doing puffs.
Absolutely. And you can follow us at Ladies Who Bronche on Instagram and Facebook, at Ladies Bronche on Twitter. Follow, like, subscribe, share the shit out of this episode. And until next time, Bronche.